Killing Floor 2 is one of the most satisfying, intense, and gory games of the past decade. I took a quick liking to its exciting combat, badass Zeds, and immaculate sounding guns. I adored this game, so imagine my excitement when Killing Floor 3 was announced. The material we've seen so far looks incredible, and I'll go over my thoughts on that. We'll be getting our hands on it in early 2025, but let's go over the predecessor first to see what we can expect. A cooperative wave-based horde shooter this is. I quickly noticed just how high a skill ceiling can be achieved here. Choosing your weapons, placing your shots carefully, as well as picking when to abandon station and run are all key aspects of the gameplay loop. One thing I fell in love with is just how great so many guns feel. Part of it is the fantastic animations and sounds they make. But another element is the gore on the enemies, the Zeds. Body shots with small arms fire will only flinch them, but blasting their heads, jibbing their bodies, or slicing them to pieces produce a dynamic and viscerally satisfying mess. As the game goes on, every square centimeter of the floor gets drenched in blood. And what's more, a global slow-mo will occasionally trigger Cold Z time, letting you revel further in the bloodshed. Every round you've got loaded into your gun is precious, so always keeping your cool and lining up those headshots goes a long way towards increasing your efficiency. The classic survival game mode sees you fend off waves of increasingly agitated Zeds. In between those, you've got 60 seconds, which must suffice you to reach the randomly chosen trader pod and spend your money on more shooty bang bang. You'll be lucky to have a few spare seconds to get back to your preferred position of defense. This means you'll occasionally have to make do with suboptimal gear in a less than ideal location, which spices up the flow of the fights. The action can be quite skill-based. Like mentioned previously, having a good muscle memory and staying focused will save you time spent on reloading, but also cash you've bought the ammunition for. Each perk you play as has a different toolset and specializes in different things. The Commando is a basic soldier effective at efficiently clearing out hordes of low to mid-tier Zeds, with precise fire of assault and battle rifles. When Z time is active, he can pace out his kills to extend this effect as long as possible. The Sharpshooter is a precision-based perk as well, but their weapons are more powerful, though less versatile. If their team helps them set it up, a Sharpshooter can freeze and take down any chunky Z in mere seconds, something that would take the Commando a lot more time, ammunition and sweat. Perks like the Firebug or Demolitionist tend to prioritize area of effect attacks to effectively suppress an incoming rush. The wide variety of enemies will keep you thinking over how to proceed. Even the weakest cysts can grab and immobilize you. Elite crawlers will explode into a cloud of poison on death, unless killed with a headshot or by fire. Husks have powerful ranged attacks, which they take a while to charge up. They also provide area denial with their exceedingly damaging flamethrower or kamikaze abilities. However, a well-aimed and timed shot to their backpack is a quick way of eliminating them. Skrakes spawn in slow and fairly passive, but when they get hurt, they are enraged and become some of the most ferocious and unrelenting Zeds. Fleshpounds are huge slabs of meat and take a lot of effort to take down. However, they will lose their rage status when they hit a player, meaning a dedicated tank can help out the team here massively. For instance, a berserker or field medic. Let's start discussing the Killing Floor 3 content we've received so far. We've got a few trailers, some Zed reveals, and a longer commentary on the development process behind the game. The very first impressions I had when looking at those was, Jesus fucking Christ, how is it physically possible for these Zeds to look so sick? These designs look incredible. Many of them are still recognizable, but feel very reimagined. There's a distinctly more cybernetic identity to these new looks. The Gorefast and Clot look more mechanized. The Skrake is still a huge butcher with a metal mask and a chainsaw for an arm, but he's now got another implant in the form of this hook, used to pull in players. This trailer seems to suggest that damaging the Skrake to the point of enragement will signify this change in behavior by this metal mask getting pinged off, revealing their mangled face. Why is this so cool? The grinder arms on the Fleshbound can now extend and be used as some flail-like things. And what the fuck even is going on with this new Zed? Why does it look so incredible? Oh my god, what kind of wonderfully twisted mind is coming up with this stuff? The atmosphere and aesthetics look exciting. Killing Floor 2 started out in a quite grounded and gritty sphere of vibes, but further content updates seemed to slip it further into either pristine and soulless sci-fi, or just kind of silly. The new game seems to be going back to those original concepts. The devs have also lined out how progression will work. Not only will the perk skill tree be more complex, but we will also be able to unlock weapon modifications, and the system looks really in-depth. I'm a sucker for some good gun customization in any video game, but it's also just such a fitting feature for the series. The reason why some guns in Killing Floor 2 were better than others amounted to more factors than just higher damage. When playing as Commando, the main reason why I ditched the starting AR-15 as soon as I can is because the iron sights fucking suck. I find it so hard to see and aim precisely with those, so I need a holographic sight. Alternate fire modes are similarly important and transformative. Well, in the new game, we will be able to change these aspects of the weapons, among others, without being forced into specific choices that we might otherwise not like. In Killing Floor 2, if the devs wanted to make a gun use a different type of ammo, they had to make an entire alternate HRG version of the gun, but now this problem is solved in a far more elegant way. The combat in the gameplay trailers looked kind of clunky. Something about the choreography and what the characters are doing feels kind of stiff and unnatural. To be fair, the Killing Floor 2 trailers also had this problem, so I'm not gonna judge the game based off of that. The small snippets of gameplay from the dev diaries and the longer document look far better. The action feels faster and more smooth. There seems to be more verticality to the player's movement and abilities. In the previous game, you could jump, but it was kind of useless. It wasn't necessary for traversing the maps, and all you could really do with this ability was either to jump over crawlers, or to make a fleshpound knock you further away when it hits you. In the new material, we can see the players climb on top of small objects, or use ziplines to expand their options of traversal. The music in Killing Floor 2 was downright incredible, a blend of original and licensed tracks which make even the most reluctant mercenaries headbang. Most of the music falls into some genre between Christian metal and electronic, and the usual suspects return. We've received some tracks from Walkie Grey and Synthetic, and they sound quite good. However, I don't really feel all that hyped up listening to them. I hope the overall roster will be more interesting in the final game. There's only one thing that might be concerning to some people. The creators have confirmed that the characters we play as will be locked into playing as one class. This might seem like a straight downgrade, as the player models were entirely independent of the perks we could select back in Killing Floor 2. I can see why this upsets some people, but I think this change has an upside to it as well. Let's take a look back at Team Fortress 2, one of the most beloved multiplayer shooters of all time. A big part of its charm are the characters. 9 classes, each with distinct models, silhouettes, clothing, and animations. The razor-sharp visual design helps mechanically as well. Players are able to always immediately recognize what classes they're up against, or alongside. Killing Floor 3 will have the same advantage, as back in the previous game, the only way to tell for sure what perk someone was playing as was to look at this non-diegetic icon hovering around them in an obstructive manner. Now, class recognition is a little less important in this game as it's not focused around PvP, but it's still a benefit. I can see why people will miss the customization, but I believe this might turn out to be better gameplay-wise. I wish I had something more profound to say for the outro, but I'm just really excited for Killing Floor 3. Tripwire Interactive has proven, at the very least, that their combat is some of the most satisfying in the business. The devs have put out some really interesting behind-the-scenes material of the upcoming game, and I believe they're heading in a strong direction. Thanks for watching.